With openSUSE officially killing YaST in Leap 16, I thought I'd do a brief history of YaST. Now, YaST stands for Yet Another Setup Tool. YaST was created in 1995 by SUSE Linux as a centralized system and administration tool. At a time when Linux configuration meant editing text files by hand, YaST introduced a menu-based installation or installer and control center, making Linux far more accessible to non-Linux users or first people or people that have just come to Linux. CLI was horrible. They didn't know it. They've come from Windows. And here you go with a blank screen and you have to know the commands. With YaST, it gave you a menu-driven system that people not familiar with Linux could easily use and then learn the CLI. In the late 1990s and early 2000s, YaST became one of SUSE's biggest pullers of people to the Linux. This for handling installation, hardware detection, network, users, services, and software management from one simple interface. May have not been simple, it may have been a little bit of a cluster, but hey, it was there. After Novell acquired SUSE in 2003, YaST evolved further, gaining better modularity and enterprise features. In 2005, YaST was open source, becoming a core pillar to the newly launched openSUSE project. Today, YaST remains a defining feature of openSUSE Leap 15.6 because it's not there in 16. Tumbleweed still has YaST. MicroOS, I'm not sure if MicroOS actually has YaST, but I need to look into that. Offering both GUI and N-curse terminal interfaces and continuing its mission, which is a powerful system control without complexity. Well, I don't know if it's without complexity, but it's there. You just have to search for it or find the menu that you wanted. So let's step back and look more of an in-depth scenario of YaST. So before those fancy installers, before the GUI everywhere, before just click next, Linux setup meant editing config files by hand and praying you didn't break X11. And then there was YaST, a tool so ahead of its time that even today, most distros still don't have anything quite like it. Let's talk about YaST, where it came from, how it evolved, and why it's still one of openSUSE's biggest strengths and attractors to new Linux users. The birth of YaST was really 1995 to 1997. YaST stands for Yet Another Setup Tool, and it was created in 1995 by Hubert Mentel while working at SUSE Linux in Germany, because that's where SUSE is from, not just openSUSE, but back then it was just SUSE. At this time, Linux installs were painful. You needed to do everything via CLI. Linux installs could be painful, especially for new Linux user. Hardware detection was hit or miss. Networking meant editing files etc host, etc sysconfig manually. YaST changed everything by introducing a menu-driven system installer. It ran in the terminal, but it was structured, readable, and safe. Instead of memorizing config files, you could just install Linux, detect hardware, configure networking, manage users, all from one place. The idea was revolutionary for Linux. That cannot be denied. YaST becomes SUSE's killer feature in the late 1990s and early 2000s. In the late 1990s, YaST wasn't just an installer, it became a full system control center. SUSE Linux used YaST to manage software packages, printers, bootloaders, network cards, system services. This was years before other distros even attempted something similar. While Red Hat leaned heavily on manual configuration and Debian focused on flexibility, SUSE focused on usability, and YaST was the reason. For many users, YaST was the difference between Linux is impossible and I can actually use this distro. So from 2003 to 2005, this is called the Novell era, and YaST 2 was born. You could say that Novell leveled up YaST to make it a powerhouse that it is today. Novell funded major development leading to YaST 2, a complete rewrite of YaST. This included modular architecture, cleaner UI, better hardware detection, improved installer workflows, which those installer workflows are still going to today. The Agama project is still trying to replace that, and YaST, being 20 years old, is still light years ahead of Agama. YaST 2 also introduced something massive, both GUI and incursive or text interface for the CLI interface. Same tool, same features everywhere. That meant you could manage a desktop, a server, a headless machine over SSH on the other side of the world, using the exact same YaST modules. So, clean interface, no matter what you did, GUI or CLI, it was exactly the same flow. That consistency is still rare today on any Linux distro. Novell did something huge. YaST was fully open source. This coincided with the launch of the openSUSE project, turning YaST into a community-driven tool rather than a proprietary one just for SUSE Linux. This move ensured long-term survival, community contributions, enterprise-grade quality without lock-in. From this point forward, YaST became the identity of openSUSE, and it really gave new Linux users the ability to learn Linux on their terms. Not being forced, CLI only, you can do this through a GUI desktop, KDE or GNOME. YaST as a system management framework from 2006 to 2015, over the next decade, YaST matured into more than just a tool. It became a framework. Each function became a module. YaST network, YaST bootloader, YaST software, YaST firewall, YaST users, just to name 5. Under the hood, YaST writes clean distro consistent configs, integrates tightly with Zypper, uses the sysconfig as a structured backend. This is why openSUSE systems stay stable and predictable even after heavy changes. Admins loved it, but specifically new users depended on YaST 2 to learn Linux. Surviving systemd, Btrfs, and modern Linux, years 2015 to 2020. Many old Linux tools didn't survive many changes like systemd, Btrfs, snapshots, UEFI, and secure boot. YaST did, and it survived by adapting systemd service control, snapper integration, Btrfs rollback support during installs, advanced partitioning with snapshots built in. This is why openSUSE installs are still considered best in class, especially for servers, workstations, power users, and new Linux users. YaST today, Leap, Tumbleweed, and MicroOS. I'm not sure about MicroOS as much, but today YaST remains a core pillar of openSUSE before Leap 16. Leap, solid rock enterprise style management. Tumbleweed, rolling release with safe system control. MicroOSD, limited YaST, focused on traditional updates. Even in a world of Cockpit, web UIs, containers, YaST still shines where it matters. Local, reliable, offline system control. No browser, no cloud dependency, just your system under your control. Why YaST still matters, YaST proves something important. Linux doesn't have to be chaotic, all CLI. Power and usability can coexist. Admin controls, tools should be boring, but yet dependable. No fluff in YaST, straight to the point, dependable. That philosophy is pure openSUSE. Now, The thing is, YaST has been depreciated. If you've used YaST before, you know how hard it is to live without it. And if you haven't, you're missing one of Linux's best kept secrets. The turning point, YaST depreciation from 2024 to the Leap 16 era. This is where the story takes a disastrous turn. SUSE has decided to depreciate YaST, their best tool that they've ever had. As of openSUSE Tumbleweed, YaST is officially depreciated, and with Leap 16, YaST is being fully removed. That's not a rumor. That's the direct action of SUSE has chosen. For the first time in 30 years, openSUSE is moving forward without YaST as a central control panel. And yes, that is a big deal. What's replacing YaST? Well, the short answer is nothing complete. There's no full GUI replacement, no single control center, no one-to-one alternative. Just a wing and a prayer by the SUSE governing board. Instead, controls are being split into many different tools. CLI tools, zipper, systemctl, nmcli, firewall command, cockpit. It's optional, but it's web-based, not default. There's not even an icon on the desktop when you go to run it. You have to go to a web interface. That's something simple that needs to be fixed by openSUSE. There's packages you can go down, do a Flatpak, install the cockpit from Flatpak, yes, and it really just adds an icon to your desktop. Small things in life that have been missed. Desktop specific settings, KDE, GNOME tools, yeah. This means system management is becoming fragmented on the openSUSE platform. Power users are expected to be comfortable in the CLI, but that's power users, they love to do stuff like that. How about the new person coming to Linux? Specifically openSUSE, Tumbleweed, Slow Roll, Micro OS, Leap. Yeah, it's not going to be very comfortable. It's going to be formidable for them to learn the system. That is a big draw to our platform. Will this hurt SUSE? Short answer, no, but it changes the audience. SUSE as a company is betting hard on enterprise containers, immutable systems, automation first flows. For this audience, YaST is less critical. Infrastructure is managed via Ansible, Salt, Kubernetes. GUI tools are often unnecessary. So, SUSE business, they'll be fine. Will this hurt new Linux users? Yes, this is where it does sting. YaST was a safety net, a learning tool, a confidence booster. With new users, YaST answered questions like, where do I change this? How do I do that? What did I just break? Easily understood in YaST. Without YaST, you're dropping straight into the CLI. Docs assume prior Linux knowledge. Trial and error becomes riskier. For someone coming from Windows or Mac OS, this is a harder on-ramp to bring a new user into openSUSE. The big irony, openSUSE built its reputation on Linux, but manageable. Removing YaST means openSUSE now looks more like Arch, Fedora server, minimal Debian installs, just with better defaults. That's not bad, but it is different. Is this the end of the GUI system management in openSUSE? Not exactly, but it's no longer first of class. Cockpit helps. It's web-based, not enabled by default. Not a full YaST replacement, only partial replacement. And partial, I think that really means a lot less. Not integrated the same way as YaST. Desktop settings, tools cover display, audio, Bluetooth. But that's KDE or GNOME. That's not really openSUSE. But they don't replace system-wide controls. You got many different softwares where you had one with YaST. Is this a mistake for power users and admins? Probably not. For new Linux users and educators, yeah, this is a loss for openSUSE. YaST wasn't flashy. It was reliable, boring, and complete. And Linux needs more of that, not less. YaST survives systemd, UEFI, Btrfs, rolling releases, but it may not survive corporate greed, shift towards immutable CLI first class. Whether this move strengthens or weakens openSUSE, time will tell one thing: who they want their users to be. Thank you for listening to this rant of mine, and please like and subscribe. And maybe the corporate people over at SUSE Linux will understand that they really need to work on YaST just a little bit more. It's free and open source. If you're able to, let's convert YaST to something newer and keep it alive for everyone else that wants to learn Linux.